Right, yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Well, I was just trying to get you to quiet down.
What are the odds?
Other people do that, keep making you say good morning. What a night we had last night. That was, for those of you who were able to attend, and for those of you who didn't, you missed out. It was terrific. What a wonderful opening reception, and again, thanks to the staff and the planning committee picking out the venue and arranging that. I thought that was amazing. So welcome to Madison, and welcome to the WiSys Spark Symposium, the annual symposium that's been going on for, Mike would have to tell me the actual number. I've been doing it for 11 years, and it had already started maybe 5 years before that. So it's really picked up over time, and it's exciting to see all of you. And I really appreciate all of you attending from across the state. I know that it takes a lot of effort to get to these things, and I hope that it's a really productive conference for you. And we look forward to all your feedback. So each year we take that seriously, and we try to improve and try new things. So all your ideas are welcome. This year we'll be doing something new, which is an AI battle. I'm excited to see what that even means. So we'll see what that is. So first I want to thank all of the sponsors. I'll let Mike do that. Thank you. Thank you, sponsors. The Universities of Wisconsin, UW System, which is their legal name, and WARF, they founded WiSys in 2000. We're celebrating our 25th birthday, so thank you to them. They continue to support us in so many ways, and they're excellent partners. Boyle Frederickson, they're a patent firm that we've been working with for many, many years, and they're just terrific. They've been working with WARF and WiSys for quite a long time, and really help us out and understand how to support a small office like ours, and we're very grateful for that. Promega Corporation, this is the first year that they're a new sponsor, and we're excited to have them on board, and they're going to be they're interested in kind of this student development and your career pathways, and we're excited to have them be a part of this conference, and look forward to connecting them with them over the long term. The Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, the WEDC, I'll talk a little bit about this later, but we're a key strategic partner this year, so that's really exciting, and they've been really a tremendous supporter of WiSys and all of these things across Wisconsin. So thank you for that. And last, the UW-Madison Neuroscience Training Program, this is their second year. We're excited to have them on board, and of course, UW Superior, which was our host last year. So I want to thank all of our regional schools. This is the power of WiSys, and we support 11 UW schools, and we're really grateful that you're here and participate fully. I want to thank the members of the Spark Steering Committee. They just did an outstanding job in figuring out how to, put on this conference. So we really appreciate that. And of course, our WiSys Board of Trustees. They're just amazing leaders and world class, and we really appreciate the strategic advice that they give us. And of course, our staff. They are a powerhouse. They're really incredible people, and hopefully you interact with all of them throughout the conference. This is our time to kind of get to know you one-on-one. So it's been 1 year since we did Spark. It's UW Superior, and since then we've had so many things happen. The Venture Home Level Up program graduated 11 entrepreneurs this spring. We opened another venture home in Menominee, and so we're bringing our total number of locations to 7. We've had engaged this past year over 1,000 people. And you all were awarded close to $1 million through WiSys Spark grants, Ignite grants, and Launch grants. Oh, go backwards. There we go. We'll go to that slide. We've had numerous webinars that were hosted by our research development team, grant writing webinars, the Grant Writing Academy, the Proposal Writing Institute. Our IP and licensing team was able to receive 53 of your ideas. We had 53 invention disclosures, so we're coming back to our levels that we had pre-pandemic, which is really exciting. So what's the collective impact of this? Well, you know, as I said last night, and it's worth repeating, all the work that you're doing is recognized. We're number 2 in the country in innovation, impact, productivity. And number 1 in terms of being a collection of small universities that do this. And our actual raw score, based on the research volume, is number 1 in the country. That's really exciting. Our collaborative model is not only recognized nationally, but internationally, and it has produced some tangible outcomes. Forward Agriculture, we received a development award from the National Science Foundation to build Wisconsin Forward Ag as a regional innovation engine. We got funding from Governor Evers that makes us a key strategic partner of the WEDC. And we've got, you know, endorsement of our 400 partners that we worked on with 6 years to build this engine that was an over 400-page application that was accepted by NSF, making us a semifinalist in this competition. So we're one of 29 in the country who started out from about 300 applications in this very prestigious competition. So we're really excited about the NSF engine, and we look forward to seeing where we can take it. But as you can see, we're working on this idea of, you know, the outcomes of this. So money is one thing, but the idea of how are we converting waste to worth, or in the agriculture industry, how are we taking residues to revenue? And I think that, you know, this is the kind of venue that we've been working with over the years, right? So we've been building it through the partnerships that occur here, and we've had meetings in the previous Sparks, at Oshkosh, and at Superior, that have kind of brought us along this path to build this incredible opportunity. So what do we take away from this? Long-term thinking. It took us 6 years to work on this, and this opportunity started even before NSF had told us that there was any money available for it. And that's the kind of thing that should inspire you, because it's about your ideas. Oh, should turn that off. So I want to thank you. I want to thank our Forward Ag Board. I want to thank the Forward Ag Industry Advisory Board, our core partner implementation team, and you as part of the Spark Symposium, our core partner in making this thing happen. There are all the people that have been a part of it, and it's just, it's amazing when you think about the breadth and depth of this and how collaborative all of you are in pulling this together, and the trust that we've had with this partnership. You can see that this is the first time in the WiSys history that we've had an industry advisory board that is really aligned on how do we innovate in this space. And that's really exciting, because that's the connections that we can make, and using you and the great intellectual power to work with industry partners to come up with incredible solutions in this space. So, before we get to Dave, we wanted to show you a short video that, you know, kind of encapsulates what WiSys has been doing over the years. So, Mike.
Innovation is very much part of our history.
I'm not sure how much opportunity we would have to innovate if it wasn't for WiSys.
They will listen to your idea. They will try to help you bring that idea to fruition.
There's innovation anywhere and opportunities everywhere, and we've seen that all throughout Wisconsin.
dwarf, they established a subsidiary called WiSys Technology Foundation. And that's how it all started.
We wanted the comprehensive university to develop jobs and processes and new ideas that could be submitted as disclosure. That was the bedrock of WiSys' success. Programs that were initially developed for faculty members to say, hey, if you want to develop an idea, here's how you can go about it. And here's what you can expect.
When Arjun came on board, I think we started to have much more intentional collaborations.
Arjun drove up here through a blizzard, and it was way below zero.
This guy's coming from Texas. I thought, is this guy gonna even make it here? He made it.
When we started, we were helping maybe 50 to 100 people a year. Today, we are supporting over 1,400 people in a variety of different ways.
It's a remarkable team. Everybody seems just committed to helping us.
In the last 11 years, we've added so many more programs and opportunities to support innovators across Wisconsin.
Spark Symposium, it takes place on different campuses throughout the universities of Wisconsin.
WiSys is always looking at where the gaps are within the Wisconsin innovation ecosystem and trying to see if they can play a role in filling those gaps.
My students have benefited far beyond just those research dollars. It's hard to stress enough how doors open.
The future of innovation here is to spread it like the Wisconsin idea to the borders of the state.
Venture home. It's an opportunity for best and brightest who maybe moved away from Wisconsin to realize that, hey, you can come back to Wisconsin, get your business started, tap into these resources, and have an impact for our communities, for the region, for the state as a whole.
We won an award from the National Science Foundation of $1 million to create forward agriculture. We're now competing for over $200 million.
One of the real successes of forward agriculture is bringing in people from all corners of the state and bring them all together for a goal for the entire state. Forward agriculture has the opportunity to really transform the agricultural system in our region.
WiSys is known globally as a leader within technology transfer with respect to smaller universities.
It's been recognized as a national model for how to do this. Very few other states have anything close to this at all.
The way that WiSys connects the universities to each other, to business, to industry, to communities, is exactly what is needed to push innovation forward.
Is there anything more important for a university to do than to unlock that passion, unlock those dreams? Building a stronger workforce and providing prosperity for the state. That's the beauty of WiSys.
We can bring this entire system of universities of Wisconsin together for the best interest of our state and our country and our world.
It's a very important organization, and I think it will emerge even more important in the next 25 years.
I think we all know here today, research-based. Here's to the next 25 years.
25 years.
25 years.
25 years of innovation.
Here's to the next 25 years of innovation. Thank you. I just want to say, it's not about WiSys, even though that was about WiSys. We have to brag about ourselves so that we can get the visibility across our state, across our nation, so that we can get the resources to do what you do. And I make no mistake, I said it last night and I believe it, that this is about you and the work that you do. We don't get all of that, or that we don't have the ability to do all of that without you, and that's the best part of our job, to work with you throughout this conference and work with you throughout the year. So I hope you take pride in all of that, because it's your work. You're the heroes, the superstars of the work we do, and we're going to be recognizing some of you throughout this conference, and they're some of the best and brightest, but all of you have incredible ideas, and we're really, really excited to have you here today. A little housekeeping item, don't forget to download the Cvent app and use it. We have some prizes available, Sadie tells me, so compete for them. So with that, I'm going to introduce our board chair, David Bruchart. He's the third chair of the board of WiSys trustees and has worked within the UW system. He's been a part of the WEDC, has a finance background, and has just been an incredible supporter, not only of WiSys, but the universities of Wisconsin throughout his career. So we really appreciate his leadership. He's the right person to take us forward in the next 25 years. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Sergeant, and thanks to all of you for being with us today. This is, as it is every year, a highlight of the WiSys Talent Showcase. And you are that talent, and it's humbling to stand up here and to see all of you. And as we begin, I'd like to just ask a few questions, because I'd like you to get a sense of this audience and who is here. First, I would ask that any of you who work for WiSys and support it as an employee or a staff member, please stand up. Or raise your hand if you can't stand. And stay standing. So you can see some of the WiSys team is with us around the room. There are many others who are not here. They're doing things to make this look good and to make it look easy. And thank you for your work. Stay standing, if you would. Next, all faculty and staff researchers on campuses, would you please stand? We have talented faculty, and stay standing, if you would. It's not often that we can ask faculty to stay standing for us, but we do that out of respect for what you do. Next, I would ask if there are any board members in the room from WiSys that we haven't seen or mentioned, or former board members and Board of Regents. Former Board of Regents? Next, I would ask if there is anybody that got up at 3 o'clock this morning and drove several hours to get here and will be then going home tonight in a one-day event. Please stand. And stay standing if you're not too tired. And finally, all students, please stand. Now, are there some folks that we have not?
Our affiliated, our affiliated people and corporate people.
Any people from our partners in industry or other affiliations? And there's still a few more. Who am I missing?
Campus administration.
Oh, I was including you in the staff before, but let's give you a chance to come up now. I was thinking you would come up with the others next.
Administrators.
Administrators. Is anybody not standing?
Alumni.
Alumni, please stand. Is anybody not standing now? You're all outstanding, and which is good. Do not sit down yet. Just bear with me one more minute. So let's take it in a reverse order. Anybody that is seeing this for the first time, the first year attendees, please sit down. So you see, we've got a good population of first-year attendees. So for those of you who have been here for a longer period of time, do your best to make them feel like this is something they should come back to next year. Is there anybody here that has been here for only 2 to 5 years? Please sit down. 5 to 10 years. Please sit down. 10 to 15 years. Please sit down.
Keynote.
15 to 90 years. You'll be hearing more from him a little bit later, I think, so that's a good thing. All ages, all different categories, all sorts of talent is in this room, and I just bow to you all and say, think about this for a minute. How many days can you get up in the morning, come to a Frank Lloyd Wright building in Madison, and receive a standing ovation? Anybody that has had that happen to them, please stand up one more time. Oh, you all did. Anyway, enough of that. Thank you. A little bit more of history before I end, and I'll take you back just briefly to the year 2010, when the person who was the chairman of the WiSys board before me was commissioned by the University of Wisconsin to take a look at what the university could do to build its third mission of outreach, community service, and to spur innovation and entrepreneurship in new ways. All of the campuses were involved in this endeavor. Every chancellor provided input, and people from all different disciplines. And the end result was a report that came out 2 years later, in 2012, that said, it's time for us to put some additional resources behind the third mission of the university. That led to the first position, which ended up being a joint position between UW and WEDC, to hire a person that would help bring those two organizations together, education, state government, and by the same token, commerce, that public-private partnership piece, in a way that would be formal. And they put out a national call for people to take a look at that position. And I was, at that time, had moved out of Wisconsin and spent many years in the Pacific Northwest. And I saw that, and I said, you know, that looks really interesting. It's unlike anything I had ever done, because most of my career was either in startups or in large corporations. But it looked like a position that might make some sense, and it was a huge opportunity. And one of the people who hired me is in this room, and his name is Tim Higgins. And thank you, Tim, for taking a chance on me, bringing me back from the Northwest to actually have what ended up being 2 offices, one at the campus at the university on one end of State Street, and another one at WEDC near the Capitol on the other end of State Street. So what do you do when you have 2 offices? I decided that to be successful, I needed to spend not much time in either one. And as one of my bosses said, you know, I'm not sure if you're in the other office or if you're on the golf course or where you are, because you're never in this office. And I said, I can't be successful for you if I'm sitting in an office. I needed to be out in the state, on the campuses, with business, talking to community leaders, wherever they might be, to understand how we could take this talent and connect it better to the resources that are out there. And we came up with a strategic plan that had simply 3 C's: communication, connection, and capital. We said we need to communicate and raise the awareness both in our campus environment as well as outside of the campuses. And then we needed to find a way to connect people. I remember sitting in a dean's office on one of the campuses early in that tour. I hit about 90 or 100 different people and locations in those first few months. And I said, how often do you on this campus in your discipline, get together with your other colleagues, deans on other campuses, either here in the state or elsewhere. And he said, David, look around. I've got papers to grade. There's one part-time admin who is helping me and 3 other faculty get the work done. I don't really have time to go and meet people out there. So I realized that everybody's busy. People are not, they're undersourced with dollars and staff and time. And so it's not easy to make connections. But we found that if we could bring people together, if we could provide some capital to get some things done, to provide grants, which we started to do. And in fact, one of the original grants was something called the Regent Scholar, which Tim Higgins helped put together. And I think we have a couple of Regent Scholars in the room today that we did last night. I'm not sure if they're here today. Are there any Regent Scholars here today? There's one. Three? We have 3, 4. Congratulations. You helped to start the program to bring students and faculty together. And those are the kinds of things that WiSys works to make happen every day. So on that, I know we're running out of time. I just would like to leave you with 3 quick asks. First of all, go outside of your comfort zone while you're here and meet people that you don't know. Find people that you have never talked to before and find out what they do and how they might connect with you. Second, find and look for mentors if you can. And for the mentors that you have, cultivate them and find ways for you to be a mentor to others. My first mentor in college, later in life, became my business partner and helped us take a business from her kitchen table to a staff of 26 before we sold that business. So you never know how connections can happen. Find ways to make that work. And finally, if you like what's happening with the work WiSys is doing to support you, tell your administrators, tell your chancellors that this is important and that they should support it and help fund it. And we thank them for the work that they have done to bring us to this point. And with that, I'll turn it back to Arjun. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Great advice. So I want to invite Rock Mackey to come up. So while he's walking up here, Rock is just a superstar, an inventor, faculty member. He started companies. I got to meet him when I first came here, and he's just so generous with his time. He's one of those people that I don't know if he's invented some kind of time thing like Hermione in Harry Potter, but I have no idea how he gets all these things done and shows up for all over the state. But he's a friend, he's a colleague, he's really a terrific person, and I'm really excited to hear him kind of talk about his journey and then help you understand how you can unlock your innovative dreams and ideas. So Rock.
Thank you. Well, it's great to be here. I think I last spoke at this meeting in 2008 in Stout, at UW Stout, so that may be one of the first ones. So I'm going to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship in Wisconsin. I'm going to talk about where I think we could go in Wisconsin, especially if we use universities to promote academic entrepreneurship throughout the state. Okay, here we go. So I'm an emeritus professor now, but I still have conflicts of interest I have to tell you about. But all of these conflicts is why I'm here today, to talk about working with companies and starting companies that I think almost all of them are in Wisconsin. So I was very lucky to be a professor in the Department of Medical Physics, which had a history of entrepreneurship. Lunar was a corporation started in the 1970s by Dick Mazes that ended up getting purchased by General Electric. It was the company that invented bone mineral densitometry for diagnosing osteoporosis. Radiation Measurements Inc. was started by the founder of the medical physics department. It was actually a not-for-profit, but it was used to help graduate students, to pay graduate students for coming to the University of Wisconsin. I started Geometrics and these companies, but you see that once you start a company, there's a very good chance that there's a cluster of companies that tumble down from it. So you don't just start one company, you tend to start multiple companies by having a company, right? Because the people that have worked at the company go on to other things. So these are the companies that did well. I also want to tell you I've started companies that failed. And that's what you have to say to yourself. If you fail to start a company, I was lucky. My first company was a success. It allowed me to actually build a house in Madison. And Tonotherapy was a roaring success. It was a publicly traded company. And right now I'm working half-time for Leo Cancer Care, which is half in Madison and half in London, England. Oops. Okay. This is anticipating the future here. Maybe there's time travel going on. So everyone knows what the Wisconsin idea was, but it's interesting that this idea that universities can help the world, it came from here, right? It came from here, it came from Wisconsin. Isn't that great? But you know what? When this was in 1904, University of Wisconsin was probably smaller than all of the other universities in Wisconsin. So it's probably, so think about it. Think about it. You don't think you can have an impact? You can. The impact is not going to be immediate always, okay? It might take a long time. But the idea spawned can help into the future. I don't really have to, oh boy. Now it's locked, oops. You know what? I'm going to skip that slide because everyone knows the importance of the dairy industry. The dairy industry in Wisconsin was started by the University of Wisconsin-Madison in the late 1880s, because the wheat crop, we were the 6th leading wheat producer in the state, in the country. But unfortunately, wheat really sucks the life out of our very flimsy, sandy soil here. And so the crops were diminishing. The University of Wisconsin started the extension program to have people actually go out and ask farmers what they need. And they came back, well, we need to improve our land. And so they started the dairy industry. You know, cow shit is good for the land. It's obviously an important fertilizer. Okay, but there's been historic resistance to academic culture. It dilutes productivity, but isn't helping the economy not diluting productivity? Lower standards, well, whose standards? Hurts reputation, well, isn't helping society good for your reputation? Creates conflict of interest. Well, why not alignment of interests? Creates lack of academic commitment. Well, commitment to what? What do we really want to do as academics? You shouldn't pick winners. Well, that's what we all do. We pick winners, right? We give grades. We pick winners. This is what universities can do quite well. By the way, some people just don't want to work for businesses, but you know what? We're all working. I mean, if you're employed by a university, you're working for a business. It's a not-for-profit business, but it's a business. It behaves in most ways like a business. Okay? So get over it, you work for a business. There's a historic resistance to industrial partnerships, but it's fading. It's fading. So if you go back to the last 30 or 40 years, there was tremendous resistance. When I started my academic career, there was resistance to starting companies. We do not have that. We've made progress. I want to just make a bit of a break here and ask you, who are the most entrepreneurial faculty members at a university? And I know this to be true at the University of Wisconsin. I think it's probably true even at all the universities in the state. Well, business school faculty, surely they're up there. Life sciences faculty, makes sense. Engineers, for sure, right? Medical researchers, and just for fun, I threw in fine arts faculty. Anybody want to guess? Throw a guess here.
Engineer.
Engineers. It's fine arts faculty. 100% of fine arts faculty are entrepreneurs. Why is that? Well, they only get hired as professors if people like their work, people buy their work, people come to see their shows, they hear their recitals, and so we say, oh, they're excellent people because they're engaging with society. People like their stuff. Let's have them come and teach us stuff. Okay? So they're all entrepreneurs. It turns out that it's rare for business faculty to start companies because they think it's somehow, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle that affects the, if you're studying business, you shouldn't, perturb it or whatever. Well, obviously that's wrong, but anyway. But yeah, 100% of fine arts faculty. If you go and look at the attitudes, I'm not sure you can read this from the back, but especially a bunch of fields, and it goes from the left side for pure basic science, right, theory. On the other side is pure applied. And most people would say they're somewhere in the middle. In other words, they do some of each. It turns out that I just circled the peak of this district. It's a histogram. And it turns out then the people that think of themselves as the most applied are engineering, architecture, agriculture, and medical and health sciences. And of those three, then, I know engineering and agriculture is extremely important for the systems universities. Only Madison really has a very huge medical program, although parts of medicine are taught at most of the colleges and universities in the state. So one of the important things to remember about spinning out the research at universities is that the research at the universities tends to be disruptive because it's coming from new knowledge. And it turns out that disruptive technologies are perfect for startup companies, right? And I don't really like the word disruptive. We have too much disruption in our economy today. So it's paradigm shifting, I think, is a better word for it. And universities are really, really best at disruptive or paradigm shifting innovation. So university research leads to new models of systems. Existing companies can best manage incremental innovation. So to them, it's paradigm that it is disruption. But paradigm shifting technologies really do have a place, and often they end up taking over. And we really are in the best position to do that. I like the following analogy. A university is a mine, and a company is a mill, okay? So you can exist as a mine, right? But a mill needs a mine. So if you really want to make progress, the industry really does have to go back to the sources of those new ideas and put them into practice. And you know what? If they don't want to do it, you have to start companies. So what is the ingredients for a successful university? It's facilities, funding, excellent faculty, staff, and trainees, students, for example. And you know what? In the nexus of that, the union of this, the intersection of this are ideas. And the ingredients for a successful business has ideas as one of its inputs, right? Along with capital and management and staff. And again, the intersection of this is profitable sales. This is the situation in Silicon Valley, okay? Ideas, good universities, lots of capital, and management who are already trained in entrepreneurship. It's in the water in Silicon Valley. And this is the situation in Wisconsin, okay? We have great ideas. We actually have more ideas coming out of Wisconsin than Stanford and the University of California, San Francisco, which are the idea factories in Silicon Valley. We have actually very well-trained management. We have large corporations. In my field, it was General Electric. But you know, not a lot of capital, and the intersection is not great, right? And in fact, Wisconsin, a decade ago, put us dead last in startup activity. Dead last. The state of Wisconsin, dead last. Okay? So we have a problem. We have an issue with entrepreneurship. And you know what? The R&D, right? If we look now at the national level, you know, the United States is that big blue blob, which shows the percentage of GDP on the bottom row devoted to research and development. And the vertical axis are the proportion of people, in a million people, how many are engineers and scientists. And so the big blue blob is us, and the size of the blue blob is the size of the absolute size of the economy devoted to R&D. And you know, China is down there in the large green blob, but down in the lower right. So this was done in 2013, so 12 years ago. And by 2022, we had moved up, bigger blue blob, but China had moved there. China was almost as big as where we were 12 years ago, okay? So nationally, we have to get going, I think, because otherwise we'll be surpassed. If we go look at the sources of funding for R&D nationally, if we look at the total U.S. spending, it's been consistent about 2 to 3% of GDP, and that's throughout both industry and the federal government. The U.S. federal proportion has fallen. In fact, the lower graph shows it falling. This was the NASA boom, and this is where we are today. And the federal dollars have shrank, and the industrial dollars have increased. So if we want more R&D, we have to work with corporations. We have to work with corporations. Now, we know the federal dollars are shrinking now, right? In this administration, we know the dollars are going to go down. The overheads are going to go down. But the amount that we use for research is going to go down. So I view this as an opportunity for universities to step up. When the overhead rates are above 50%, corporations can't afford to do R&D at universities. They can't. The average profit ratio for a machine shop is 35%. 35% is what you can do reasonably to get work. If machine shop charged more than 50% more than the manufacturing process cost them, they wouldn't get any business. And that's what's happened with very high federal rates. It locks companies up. So that's an opportunity. I see that as an opportunity. The budget, I'm just talking about UW-Madison because it's well described on the UW website. The proportion of state spending has rocketed down from in the orders of 40% down to teens, okay? And it's been supplemented by tuition and some modest increase in other things, not really much increase in the federal dollars, as you see here. But the impact, interesting, UW studies it well because they do it quite well. I mean, we do it better, certainly, than any other university in the state, and probably better than most of the Big Ten. So a study in the teens, 10 years ago, showed that the impact of spin-off companies to the state was 2.3 billion. Now it's about 10 billion, okay? In fact, this was done by David Ward's company, who's on the board of WiSys. So we know that the state funding for the UW system is down. And how far down compared to the national ranking? We're almost dead last, okay? But we're surrounded by states that are first and second. Illinois is first and Michigan is second. So when you have this funding opportunity, it's no wonder we lose good people to Michigan and Illinois. So we have a state problem. We have a national problem, we have a state problem. Interestingly, in the latest budget, controversies around funding the UW system, it turned out that businesses were the ones who really stepped up. So 800 business leaders representing businesses throughout the whole state sent a letter to the legislature saying, this system is important to us. You cannot cut, you cannot have draconian cuts. And we ended up getting a nice compromise that did raise the funding level for the system. But I want to talk about the impacts. I'm talking about the impacts here of UW College of Agriculture, and I think almost all of I know all of the system universities do agriculture, but this was done by a good buddy of mine, Mark Cook, who passed away about 8 years ago. And Mark just looked at 3 agriculture company spin-outs from the University of Wisconsin and said, where are their products being used? Or where are those companies utilizing ideas from these companies to promote agriculture locally? And it's about 60% of the counties are using the products. In my own company, the tomotherapy, which was bought by Accuray, I got them to do a study of where they are getting products machined or products built, how much of their cost of goods is devoted to counties in the state. It turns out that the number one, interestingly, it's Waukesha County. 44% of their cost of goods originates in Waukesha. The most Republican county in the state is getting funding for its businesses from the most Democratic county in the state, in Dane County. That's a good news. That's good news. But your other, Ozaukee County, was number 3. And tomotherapy machines, when I did this, there's 13 of our systems doing radiation therapy throughout the state. So not just economic impact, but actually improvement to healthcare. So if you have a university, if you can incubate a technology, you create a startup, you have the community and mentors supporting the startup. You find financing, either local and from farther afield. The company can grow. It can pay back to its investors. It has economic development back to the community. And you know what? Both the investors and the community see the benefit of the university, and that creates the donation and grants to the university, because they see the university isn't an ivory tower, it's being engaged in business, and it's creating businesses. There's a concept of muzzle velocity. A handgun, the bullets come out at a relatively low velocity compared to a rifle, because the powder gases are pushing it for longer distances, so it's getting a longer length of time for thrust. The muzzle velocity is an important concept for incubation, because what you want to do is you want to be able to use the resources of the university until the company can actually go out into the real world itself. You don't want to be there too long, because again, the barrel's too long, you can see that it actually slows down the bullet, right? So you want that optimal point. You don't want to do it too soon, you don't want to do it too late. But it's important. Incubation is important. If we don't incubate companies, they aren't gonna succeed. I was lucky. I had Geometrics was actually used clinically before it went out with its product for 4 years, and tomotherapy got a lot of research grants in the university for 8 years before it spun out. Oops, this is an important slide. Can't miss this one. Okay, please. So it's not just the University of Wisconsin. So I went online, and the university that I know all of you have spin-outs, but Whitewater's was very nicely done. So it's important to communicate. It's important to communicate that you have startups. These startups are successful. So do